Don't need AI. Here we are with another edition of Advisory Edge podcast VCast. I am joined by the one and only Peter Harris out of the Hamilton office of Maisey Harris, who are well known as a kind of leading advisory firm here in New Zealand. So, g'day, Peter. How you doing?
Good, thank you, Richard. How are you, mate?
I am very well. Now, Hamilton gets a bit of a bad press, but I'll give you 30 seconds to tell us why it's the epicenter of progressive accounting.
Epicenter of progressive accounting, because we're here, mate. That's why. No, Hamilton does get a little bit of a bad rap, but it's a great little city to be in. I really enjoy it. We're pretty central to a lot of other places. We're pretty central, close to the beach. We're not too far from Auckland. If forever, for whatever reason, we do want to venture up over the hill to Auckland, but we don't really have the busyness of some of those bigger places. So, great little tight knit community, good relationships around town. And there's a lot happening. It's been the city of the future for a long time, and I think the future's here. So here's Hamilton.
Oh, nice. That's you should work for the council, mate. That's awesome. No, I can. I've got family in the neighbourhood, so I can confirm that it's definitely a happening place these days, and the Waikato in general is a beautiful neck of the woods. All right, so you've got the lifestyle sorted, tick. You're living somewhere awesome. Tell us about Maisey Harris, but also what drives you day to day. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, okay. Probably if I tell the Maisey Harris story, probably goes into a little bit about our why as well. But Maisey Harris, we just celebrated our 10th birthday at the end of last year, so pretty proud moment for us as founders and us as a business as well. A little bit of an unconventional story. Myself and my business partner Nathan Maisey, we started the business, as I say, just over 10 years ago, and we sort of started with a blank sheet of paper. Started from scratch. I think we were a lot younger, a lot more naive. We didn't know
Hmm.
what we know now, but I think a lot of that sort of really worked to our advantage. And what that meant for us, I guess, is we had no legacy clients, we had no legacy systems, no legacy processes. And so, really, we were able to build an accounting firm how we thought an accounting firm should look. And don't get me wrong, we've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but we've done a lot of really, really good stuff as well. So, 10 years ago, we just set out to be a little bit different. I guess from day one, we wanted to be really technology focused. We wanted to be cloud based, which is more and more common now. But again, back then, not so normal. We were really big from the start on just building key relationships with our clients. I think both myself and Nathan had sort of worked in other firms where you charge by the 6 minutes and clients are sort of scared to call their accountant because they might get a bill in the mail, and we didn't want that. We wanted people to be able to call us. We wanted people to be able to pop in the door and say good day and build relationships with them. So we sort of went down the route of monthly subscriptions. And that really encouraged us to be efficient along with the technology that we use and deliver a really good service for our clients. Clients knew and now know now what they're paying, what they're getting in return, and can have real confidence that they can call us for quick accounting and tax questions, and they're not going to get a bill in the mail. So that sort of worked really well for
Hmm.
the first sort of probably 4 years of our journey. And I guess we just grew quite quickly from being young, being hungry, being fresh. Probably underpricing was one of our mistakes early that did help us grow, but we had to sort of fix along the journey. But sort of 4 years into that journey, and you sort of asked a little bit about my why, and I guess it's pretty closely tied to our business why as well. We actually got a business coach ourselves, and she really helped us understand why are we in business from the point of view of our clients. And what we probably already knew but became pretty apparent is, we do the tax returns, we do the financial statements, and we do that really, really well. But I don't get out of bed in the morning, or I don't get excited when I get out of bed in the morning thinking about telling clients how much tax they've got to pay. And so I guess what we really found out, what really floats our boat is helping clients. And we sort of termed that, what's our core purpose is pedal to the middle. And for us, that means sort of partnering with our clients, sitting in the passenger seat if they're in the driver's seat, really helping them establish where they want that business or that vehicle to go. So helping them create goals, and then working out from the passenger seat how we can guide our clients and help our clients achieve those goals. So we've sort of developed a bunch of services along the way that have really enabled us to just work deeper with clients and really help them achieve success whatever success looks like to clients. And yeah, I think sort of getting into that, and the more sort of runs we got on the board and the more success we had, and the hungrier you sort of get, you see the difference you can make in people's lives. And really that's why I really enjoy getting out of bed and helping clients, and that's our business why as well.
Nice. I think pedal to the metal is a very good Hamiltonian
Bit of a bogan, isn't
tagline
it?
to have. I wasn't going to go there. Tremendous to have a why and tremendous to have that whiteboard or bit of paper to design your practice. And of course, practices over time morph, and you've said that you got a coach in and you're potentially undercharging. We'll come back to regrets later. Um, how would you describe yourself? Are you an advisory practice that does accounting? Are you accountants that do advisory? What's in your mind? And certainly from when I was in practice, I had my kind of diagram of what was advisory and what was compliance and how I wanted them weighted. What kind of approach did you and Nathan take? Were you business coaches, advisors first, or accountants first?
We were definitely accountants first. I think we both came from, I'd love to say we're advisors first, and we do with advisory with a little bit of accounting on the side. That would be the dream, I guess, but that's sort of
Mm.
not the reality at the moment. Both myself and Nathan, we actually came from pretty traditional accounting backgrounds. So I guess what you learn and what you know is, the traditional accounting compliance sort of route. So we've had to work really hard ourselves and as a business, developing other people to really build those advisory skill sets. And they are things that can be taught, and they are things that, you can learn, but you do have to sort of go out there and learn those things. And we've been able to do that. Hey, we still have clients that come in the door and they want to see us once a year and they want their tax returns done and done well, and
Sure.
we still do that. And hey, over time, we sort of educate them, and a lot of those clients that are only doing compliance, eventually they want a little bit more. They want a bit more support. So they're great to have as well. But yeah, more and more now the advisory piece as a percentage of our revenue is increasing every single year. But
Nice. So you talked about the education piece early. So there are schools of thought that you can't really teach advisory. I'm kind of a little bit on the fence because I've met people you can and you can't. How much has if you could unpick the education piece a little bit for us, but also the hiring aspect, because presumably if you're moving more and more into the advisory realm and compliance is maybe less of the B mix, surely the personality types that you are hiring are changing. Is that true?
absolutely, yeah. I think the qualities that you look for in an accountant nowadays are probably quite a lot different to what you might have looked for 10, 15, 20 years ago. Our client managers here, our accountants, they're not doing a lot of processing. We do use outsource.
Hmm.
So the processing is less and less important, and it's about understanding how to build relationships with clients, how to talk to clients, how to ask good questions, and how to just really build those long-term relationships, trusted relationships, so that clients can call up and have a conversation with someone they know and someone they trust and ask the questions that they need to ask. So, yeah, I think there's a lot more in the relationship building space and the empathy space and the asking question space.
Sure, sure. So obviously that predisposes you to hire a certain type of person. With the skill set work, is it you and Nathan leading from the front and doing all the jazz hands stuff, or are the team intimately involved in the advisory part as well?
Started with Nathan and I naturally, I think, and as I say, we sort of
Mm.
started our business from scratch. So it was just Nathan and I to start with, and we brought on more and more people. I think that was really valuable because it meant we could sort of learn. We could learn how we like to deliver it, how Maisey Harris Co likes to deliver it. But as we have scaled our business, we have brought on other people who can deliver that advisory work as well. And for us, that's been a mixture. So we've had some people come in who are very, very capable from day one. We sort of show them the ropes from a Maisey Harris Co point of view, and away they go. And we've also got a couple of young guns as well. So a couple of, I think he's 26 now, one of the guys, and he's just going great guns, both selling and delivering advisory, and it's really, really cool to see a young person out there with the confidence delivering it and giving a whole lot of value to clients.
Nice. So, are you a structured, process-driven firm, i.e., you start with a bit of strategy, you do monthly mentoring, you get a spotlight or whatever, or is it bespoke and organic?
We have our core services that we sort of like to go to. So as accountants, we also use another software called the Gap, which really helps us with
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the structure around
Hmm.
business planning and coaching and things like that. I always say it's sort of maybe 30% structured and then 70% freewheeling. You sort of need to have a bit of structure to make the meeting efficient and have some points in there, but then you need to be able to go where the client needs to go as well. So definitely a little bit of structure, but we need to be able to float. And then, depending on those services, as I said, we sort of have some that we lean towards. I guess I can sort of put my hand in my heart and sort of say, hey, that every single business out there deserves to have a business plan, deserves to have some quarterly coaching, and deserves to have some cash flow forecasting and some reporting. And that's where we use Spotlight to really help nail that. So, hand on heart, every single business deserves one of these three services. So, that's often a very good starting point for clients when they're looking at advisory. And then we can tailor other services around that on a as need sort of basis.
I loved when you said everyone deserves a cash flow forecast because I can well remember standing on stage at a Xerocon a few years ago saying everyone deserves a cash flow forecast, and if you're not delivering it as their accountant, you're negligent. To the gasps of the audience. Of course, accountants don't like being called negligent. So, as a core part of your service offering, what's an ideal client for Maisey Harris? What services do if you go, oh, great, Nathan, this business has just come in, let's give them A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, I guess firstly it comes down to their values and their personality. So obviously we're not going to work with anybody who doesn't share our values. We like working with good people, good honest people.
Hmm.
And then our ideal sort of business could be anyone and anything, any industry, but they're keen to do something in their business. They're keen to change their business. They're keen to grow their business. They're keen to
Yeah.
do something different to get different results. If someone's stuck in their ways, you can sort of lead a cow to water, but you can't make it drink, sort of thing. So
So got to be
really,
coachable.
they got to be coachable. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
way to put it down, and share our values. And then once we tick that box, then an ideal client for us would be what we call that success trifecta. So we'd be doing their compliance, just happens in the background on
Mm,
autopilot. We'll be doing an annual business plan with them, which is a 4 hour session. They have a bit of homework beforehand, and there's a bit of homework afterwards as well. They come out with a
nice.
one-page business plan. We follow that up with quarterly coaching because we see our clients that get the best results are those clients that have a business plan but have some accountability. They're a whole lot more likely to follow through on what's in their business plan if they've got some independent accountability and someone to answer to, and as well keep that business plan alive. And then the third piece is the cash flow forecast. And we're big believers, too often you see clients will prepare a cash flow forecast for the bank and they try and
Mm,
put a band-aid on, they will need to get a loan because they're in overdraft or extend their overdraft or whatever it is. But we're big believers in having a forecast that is proactive. It maps out the year ahead. It maps out the changes in the business plan, the increases in margin or the extra hires or whatever it is. And it really helps us to see what's happening in advance, any peaks, any troughs, make decisions proactively. And then, as well as that, we can start reporting actual results against that forecast and that budget.
yeah.
And it just creates a whole lot better conversations
I was
during
going to
those
ask if
periods.
you kind of roll it quarterly and have that as part of the mentoring, but it sounds like you do.
Yep, absolutely. That's a key part of our mentoring. Obviously, any business should be looking at their numbers, and unfortunately, it probably doesn't happen enough. But a key part of our quarterly meetings is, reviewing clients' financial performance against budget
Mm.
and updating that for the quarter ahead. So we're always being proactive with that decision making.
Lovely. And I love the kind of the success trifecta thinking. And I think that what I really liked too from your answer was the values piece, because I think too many accounting firms have a, heartbeat and a wallet client acceptance criteria. So if you're filtering people through the coachability, aligned values kind of filter right at the top of the funnel, then that's really important. I know certainly from my practice, you can end up in a situation though where you end up kind of one day blinking in surprise at who you're working with and what they're asking you to do. Have you had that experience, and if so, do you have kind of criteria around moving clients on or finding a new home for them? Or have you had any of those kind of
We
washout
absolutely,
scenarios?
yeah, we absolutely have. And you sort of mentioned regrets earlier. I think going back to our story and starting with a blank sheet of paper and having no clients to start with, you sort of got to put food on the table, right? And rightly or
Yeah.
wrongly, it's sort of anyone and everyone who wants to work with us can work with us. And that was probably one of the mistakes that we made early that we sort of then had to undo. And we learned pretty quickly that we want to work with people who share our values. And so we do actually have a process. Now, we don't have a strict criteria around how we or who we exit as a client, but every year at March, we have a think about who's not suited to be our clients anymore. And we go about exiting them. And often they're the ones that they're late paying their bills or they're not paying their bills. They're not
Mm,
getting us the data that we need to finish their financial statements and tax returns and whatnot, which just becomes a admin drag at our end. And hey, we give them warnings and we try and train them as we go. But if they're not going to sort of toe the line, then there becomes a time where we
yeah.
nicely free up their opportunities.
Yeah, I think that, and that's clearly shows a kind of a values misalignment too, doesn't it? And I certainly knew we had one instance where when I mentioned the name and what I was planning, when the team's clapping and cheering, you've probably made the right decision. So I'm sure you've had one or two like that. So you've kind of talked about that as a regret. I think that's probably one many accounting firms have. Is there anything else where you kind of not necessarily a regret, but something you wish you'd done sooner or faster or better?
Yeah, I think I alluded to pricing earlier. And regret's a funny word. I don't think we probably have too many regrets as such because
Yeah.
I think all the mistakes that you make along the way, you learn from them, and that's why we are who we are now and where we are because of those mistakes that you make along the way. But in terms of errors or things we could have done better, pricing was definitely one of them. I remember one of our tag phrases when meeting new clients used to be, we can do the same for less or more for the same in terms of
Oh,
price. And I look
okay.
back now and think, what were we thinking, and why were we why were we saying that? Why were we undercutting ourselves so much? But again, we were young, we were naive, we were sort of starting our journey, and we wanted clients. So yeah, absolutely. I've learned along the way that obviously you have to price appropriately. You have to make good margin out of it. Otherwise, businesses won't be here to exist and to serve their clients. But I guess going through that ourselves and correcting that over the years has really helped us when we coach clients as well, because we see clients in similar situations, clients who haven't increased their prices for 5 years and are well below the market and aren't making the money that they should be making. So all of those mistakes as well sort of helps
Yeah.
us with our clients.
Those bruises are badges of honor, aren't they? And I think you did right. Pricing is one of those service lines that I think is underutilized in advisory firms because we agonize as an industry over our pricing value-based versus time-based and getting the high effective hourly rate. But not all accounting firms are very good at necessarily having that pricing conversation with clients. I'm glad to hear that you guys do. Um, so you've also been leaders in terms of branding and tech and the intersection between humans and tech. And you've talked about sourcing as well. AI is rumbling along. Um, how do you juggle that mix of, having humans using a tech stack? Are you using AI? And if you want to unpick a little bit the kind of outsourcing approach. Although that's, that whole heady mix is more common now. It's, you guys were ahead of the curve. So how do you do it and what did you learn?
Yes, an interesting question. Yeah, as you say, we're sort of we're probably one of the earlier ones to go down the outsourcing route. I mean, one, it's very hard to find good skilled accountants in New Zealand. And if there was no outsourcing, then I think there'd be real problems with being able to deliver all the compliance
Mm.
work that is there in New Zealand. So by outsourcing that compliance work, I think what that has done for us is just freed up our accountants to spend more time doing things that they actually enjoy and things that add more value to clients as well. We sort of alluded to it earlier, but they're not sitting there. When I started at KPM, sorry, at a big four, however many years ago,
We
I
won't tell
was
anyone.
I was sitting there coding and punching bank statements into the computer all day, and you don't have to do that now because technology does that for you. And so technology and outsource and AI and all the rest of it is making us more efficient, which is great. And we're filling that space by having better conversations with our clients, by taking the numbers and interpreting those numbers with our clients to help them make better decisions. So I think our team have grown from that. They've sort of had to grow from that. They've learned to have those conversations, to be able to ask those questions with clients. And I think our team are doing more fulfilling work, which means we have a very low turnover because I think our team are fulfilled, and our clients get a better experience and a better result as well as because of that.
How's AI impacting you? Are you kind of waiting for, I suppose, your software providers to be injecting the AI, which of course is one approach, or are you adopting AI in your own workflows or other ways that you're kind of operating, or perhaps in your client facing activity?
Yeah, we're sort of a bit of both. Everybody here is using AI to some degree. I haven't seen a tool yet from AI in the accounting space that's going to do a set of financials and send it out to the client start to finish.
Mm.
If it is there, I've missed it, but I just don't think that's there yet. So I guess what I encourage everyone here to do is to be using AI every single day, every single week in some way, shape, or form, because it is changing so rapidly and it's going to continue changing so rapidly. And I think the ones that are using it now are going to ride that curve as it does get better and better. The ones that aren't or refuse to use it now definitely aren't going to be using it when AI gets better, or if they are, they're going to be so much further behind. So probably using it at a reasonably basic level, but I'm in there every single day, even just having conversations myself with it. It sort of sounds funny having conversations with AI, but it might be a leadership thing comes up and sort of you have an idea how you might deal with it. So I'll sort of bounce ideas off AI and end up coming up with a whole better solution. And same with clients. If we're doing a business plan with clients and there's something cropped up, it's pretty easy to jump into AI and start getting the cogs turning. But I think no matter how far we go with technology and with AI, there's always, you can't replace that human element. You can't replace sitting down, face to face with somebody and having a conversation that involves a bit of empathy and all the rest of it. So, yep, technology is doing more, AI is doing more, and will continue to do more. But I think it just creates even more space for us as accountants to be adding more value as well.
I like that. I'm a big believer in, advisory is human, and the best advisors lead with their empathy, experience, and expertise and augment with technology and AI. But I like that, it's creating space for us to do our gig. So that's exciting. And I think there's so much more pros and cons of where AI can go. But yeah, it's certainly something that we're looking at and doing bits and pieces here at Spotlight, because we're just very focused on solving problems rather than just doing stuff for the sake of it. But we've got some interesting stuff to share soon. Um, so we talked a little bit earlier about regrets. Obviously, there's been lots of progress made over the years. You've got your two offices now, multiple staff, inshore, offshore, built a really good brand, and you've won the gongs, and I think, highly respected firm. So what's something, if you can just toot your own horn a little bit, what's something that you kind of, if it's on your gravestone, you go, yeah, I did that. What's something that
Mm.
you are proud of, or most proud of?
Well, you mentioned staff there, Richard. What do you get when you have staff?
That's a big question, existential question. Hopefully you get happy staff, happy customers, and a community impact.
You
Is that
get
where you're going?
staff all. You get staff all, Richard. We have a team.
Oh, a team. Okay, I'm with
A
you. Yeah.
little bit of a dad joke, but I think like
Yeah, no, I'm with
it's
you.
sort of been a dad joke
Yeah.
within our business for 10 years, and we've always sort of said we don't have staff, we have a team.
Yes.
And I guess when we think about, what are we proud of, what I'm most proud of is our team, and it's the culture that we've created, and it's the growth that people have had. I get a real kick, as I say, I get really excited getting out of bed and helping clients achieve their goals.
Yes.
I probably get even more excited about being helping our team grow and achieve their goals.
Yep.
And I think we've enabled that as a business through the culture that we have created here. And, we've seen people who have joined us and have been working at other accounting firms and have been very shy, haven't been able to have conversations with clients, haven't been able to pick up a phone and call a client. And over 8, 9 years, have just seen their confidence and their ability skyrocket to the point where they're delivering advisory with clients now. So I think that's probably what I get the most proud of is, yeah, just seeing that growth within our team and giving them opportunities.
Absolutely. Teamwork makes the dream work. I'm gonna get told off by my team now. How do you call us staff?
There you go. You
Hey,
said,
we're up to half an hour. I said that we've got short attention spans these days before we recorded, and it will be half an hour. Plus, my aircon's not working. So we've had some really good takeaways, but are there one or two nuggets, suggestions, bon mots of inspiration you want to give to any of the advisors, accountants, or aspirants in this space who are watching or listening to this?
yeah, I mean, in terms of advisory, if we think about that, you just have to get started. I think advisory sometimes gets a bit of a rap as being really hard and this big mystical, magical thing that happens, and only a certain amount of people can do it. Which you sort of talked before. Can it be taught? Absolutely. It can be taught. I was a traditional accountant myself, so I think I am living proof of that. But I think you just have to get started. And for me, as you get started, as you get some runs on the board, you build a bit of confidence. And if you can keep doing that, the confidence grows, the delivery gets better, the confidence grows, the delivery gets better, and all of a sudden you're delivering meetings and value to clients that you would never have been delivering before. So I think if anyone's wondering about how to get started or worried that they're not up to it, start small. Advisory doesn't have to be a big 4 hour business planning session. It's just asking better questions. You might just be saying to ask clients how they're going, what's keeping them up at night, and going from there. So don't overcomplicate it. Just get stuck in.
Yeah, great advice. You've proven you can move from bean counter to rock star. So there you go. And yeah, I remember being on stage with Steph Hines of Growthwise. You probably know Steph, a few years ago, who was also an early mover in a lot of the space, and she just said, start with one, then do two. So I think that echoes your advice really nicely. It doesn't have to be bigger than Ben Hur. It's just asking better questions, as you said.
Absolutely.
Peter, it's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to my next visit up, and I'll hopefully pop in and see you guys. But really appreciate the time and the wisdom you've shared, and some of the story of Maisey Harris. And I'm just delighted that you guys are part of the Spotlight reporting journey as well. So kudos to you for your support as we're trying to make the advisory journey just a little bit easier out there. So many thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you, Richard, and thanks, Spotlight, for everything you guys are doing as well.
Nice. Take care.
Cheers, mate.